And currently there are rumors or reports stating that Steve Austin is currently in the plans for WrestleMania. And his rumored opponent right now is Kevin Owens. That's a match that's been penciled in. As of right now, it hasn't been made official. It might not be made official anytime soon or at all. It all depends, honestly, it all depends on Stone Cold Steve Austin. But they're kind of building up to it in a sort of way because Kevin Owens has pretty much expressed his disdain for Texas, which is the state where WrestleMania is being held at this year. Stone Cold Steve Austin is the main spokesperson, to put it that way, for this year's WrestleMania. So it's a no-brainer, right? It's a no-brainer. Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Kevin Owens, one-on-one at WrestleMania. Stunner versus Stone Cold Stunner. The story writes itself, right? The issue here is Stone Cold Steve Austin has been retired and hasn't had in-ring competition in almost 19 years at this point. His final match was against The Rock, a loss against The Rock at WrestleMania 19 in Seattle, Washington. A great contest, a great story told by two legends that are currently on my Mount Rushmore of WWE. So the question we all have to ask ourselves right now is Stone Cold Steve Austin willing to throw that legendary moment, that legendary curtain call away for a match against, yes, a very respected, a very talented, a great human being by all accounts in Kevin Owens? Is Stone Cold Steve Austin willing to throw that all away? Because if you ask me, I would not have Stone Cold. I want to see Stone Cold Steve Austin wrestle. Of course I do. You don't think I want to see Stone Cold come back for one more match? And it's nothing against Kevin Owens. It's really nothing, but, Kevin Owens, The Rock, you were in your prime against The Rock. You're coming back after 19 years of ring rust. And we already saw Triple H and Shawn Michaels and Kane and The Undertaker have that baffling contest at Crown Jewel a few years ago. You had Goldberg versus Taker. Those matches were just embarrassing for all of these legends that do not need to be out there still performing when if this is a sport, let the younger guys go up. Let the younger guys come up and put on matches that you have no right being in. And with all due respect, Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Kevin Owens, yes, it's going to sell tickets. Yes, it's going to pack AT&T Stadium both nights because of the excitement, because of the level of euphoria that the fans are going to have that Stone Cold Steve Austin is back and he's going to have one more match. But it's not worth it. It is not worth it. It's not. So if Stone Cold Steve Austin, if you're watching this, do not throw that legendary curtain call against The Rock away just for one last match. Yes, in Dallas, Texas. Yes, WrestleMania. Yes, WWE and Vince McMahon. They're trying to convince you, and they're throwing money at you, and they're throwing all these other things at you, and they already have this story planned out in case you do. But my recommendation right now would be, yes, have Stone Cold Steve Austin return to WWE TV, but do it in a different way. I don't know. Have Stone Cold Steve Austin back Damian Priest. Have Stone Cold Steve Austin back Austin Theory. Have Stone Cold Steve Austin back a young up-and-comer to defend Texas, name and all of that. That story that you're already building up to. And have Kevin Owens go up against that one guy. And have Stone Cold Steve Austin in his corner. That's just as viable. It's not as interesting. It won't sell tickets quite as much. But it'll keep Stone Cold Steve Austin's legacy intact, which at this point, for me, is the most important thing that they should be doing. So with that said, you know my thoughts. Stone Cold Steve Austin, stay in retirement, come back, manage or be in somebody else's corner, and put them over at WrestleMania. But what do you think? Do you think Stone Cold Steve Austin should come back for one more match in Dallas, Texas, in front of over 100,000 fans at WrestleMania? Or do you agree with me in the fact that he doesn't really need it? It's going to be a hit or miss in terms of in-ring action, and it might come out looking out for the worst for him. So leave your thoughts, comments, and predictions on the comment section below.